In today's video, we're going to dive into Signum Bank, its connections to XRP, Casper, and a variety of assets. We're also going to dive into the QNT price chart and compare it to some other altcoins. Could QNT be potentially leading for the altcoin market? We also know that QNT did that same thing right to the R3. It crashed 90%, so I mean, if you believe in it long term, that's an awesome buy. And right here, we also did a 90% drop, and then boom, we mooned. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's having a great day, and let's take a quick look at the taco stand of Jed McCaleb's XRP balance. Currently 9.5 million XRP left. If he continues on with the 3-month average, he'll be out of XRP in roughly 3 days. Now let's dive into Signum Bank a little bit. So Signum Bank is the world's first digital asset bank, founded on Swiss and Singapore heritage, operating globally. As you can see, Switzerland and Singapore. Now back in 2020, we also know that Signum Bank added XRP to the currency portfolio. So of course, having Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP. And now this came out yesterday. We also have Ralph, a board member of Casper's Association, actually on the podcast for Signum. Now I listened to this whole podcast. If you have time, I highly recommend checking it out. And now since we know that XRP, Casper, they both have heavy ties to a custodian such as BitGo, well, is it a stretch to assume, since Casper is also based in Switzerland, that they potentially will be listed on Signum in the future? As we can see, back in the day, even Bank XRP, Signum Bank adding XRP to the currency portfolio, along with the digital Swiss franc or the CHF token for instant settlements. So you can see brokerage, asset management, accounts and custody, lending, tokenization, and additional B2B banking services. XRP listed right there. Don't forget Signum's connections to SBI Holdings in Japan and then also at Singapore. Now what's interesting to me is on Casper Network's Twitter, along with even Casper Labs, I don't see them listing Switzerland anymore. And I believe even past videos I did for Casper Labs and Casper Network, in the past you were able to see their location and it also said Switzerland. Now maybe they just changed it and cleaned it up a little bit, but I did think that was interesting. Now you guys remember a while back talking about DBS Bank, one of the largest banks with assets under management based out of Singapore. Well, they listed XRP. Now people think this is a stretch, and I don't. As we go to Hedera's governing council, go to hedera.com/council, we'll scroll down and we'll actually see DBS is actually on Hedera's governing council right here. Now when I see this, I also assume, since they've in fact listed XRP, I do believe they're going to be listing HBAR as well. Now a month ago, I also mentioned Nomura. Now remember, Nomura is also launching some DeFi projects. Could they be integrating Hashgraph for HBAR in the future? So just like XRP is integrated into a variety of countries, I mean, we know that essentially on-demand liquidity almost has global coverage in over 24 corridors right now, and that is a single use case for XRP. It's great to see that Hedera has ties to Tata, so we can think of India, we can think Germany, we can think throughout the United States. You have Boeing, Google, FIS, IBM, Signum Bank out of Korea, and DBS in Singapore, so a variety of countries. Now looking at Signum and scrolling down just on their Twitter, and I shared this the other day, we have Shanghai plans to cultivate a $52 billion metaverse industry by 2025. They want to create more than 100 companies in a plan that focuses on VR and increased connectivity. They plan to cultivate 10 chain owner enterprises that will compete on an international scale while creating more than 100 companies that master core metaverse technology. The city government on July 8th, so literally last week, outlined its strategy to cultivate a metaverse industry worth $52 billion in just a few years. Next up, we have to cover the Anamaka Brands raising an additional $75 million, nudging valuation to almost $6 billion, 5.9 bill. This company's portfolio contains more than 150 NFT-related projects. Axie Infinity, Dapper Labs, the company behind NBA Top Shot, OpenSea, and also had a huge stake in the sandbox. Now look at this video of Anamaka Brands, Hong Kong's latest tech unicorn. Anamaka is betting big on video game NFTs. And this gentleman right here is the chairman and co-founder. And he says that free-to-play gaming is essentially half of the world's gaming revenue at $70 or $80 billion in revenue right now. And this was last year, and it's continuing to grow. And now speaking of Anamaka Brands right here, along with SBI Digital Asset Holdings, there was a Series B that raised $90 million, accelerating the expansion of Web3 offerings into new global markets. And over in Shanghai, they're actually launching a $1.5 billion fund. Now speaking of Shanghai, we also know that Casper Labs actually became the blockchain of choice for the city of Fuzhou in China. And so Casper Labs' partnership with China's blockchain-based service network, or BSN, actually made their agreement or minted it as a non-fungible token, as a sign of commemoration. And they've chosen Casper for its scalability, security, and decentralization, as well as the use of the OPB, which is the Open Permissioned Blockchain Protocol. And since 2019, for BSN, they actually expanded in over 120 public city nodes throughout China, servicing data centers and processing transactions. There's a few other pieces I want to share, then we'll dive into the price charts. I'm sure you guys have seen this XRP news. We have Colombia launches a national land registry on the XRP ledger. So this partnership is going to be done with a blockchain company called PeerSyst, which is partnered with the company Ripple to make this launch possible. So launching land registry on top of the XRP ledger, actual utility. And as a result of this launch, the government will essentially be able to issue digital certificates that utilizes XRP stamp technology, and it's significantly cheaper than Ethereum. This is one of the first times in history that a government entity has decided to use blockchain in such a widespread manner. So you can follow PeerSyst Technology on Twitter if you want to read more about it. Super cool. This particular project has already been worked on for over a year with Ripple, and there's potential that there will be future government initiatives that will continue to utilize the XRP ledger. We even have Mason sharing right here, XRP seeing more and more real usage. And a recent Ripple survey indicated that Latin America is one of the regions that will likely adopt blockchain the fastest. And the survey incorporated feedback from over 1,600 financial institutions, indicating there is massive demand and interest within the region. Next up, Roth Economy, recent journal right here, the use of technology in financial institutions out of the Democratic Arabic Center, notes the National Bank of Egypt, or NBE, one of the largest banks in Egypt. And as we can see, RippleNet mentioned right there. And Roth Economy is actually referring directly to this too, the National Bank of Egypt and Lulu International Exchange connecting through RippleNet to elevate remittance experiences into Egypt. NBE, the North African country's largest bank. Next up, on the HBAR Foundation's website, you can find all these partnerships. There seems to be one every single day. The HBAR Foundation and BCW Ventures launch a market development fund to accelerate the growth on Hedera's network. BCW looks to further HBAR Foundation's support on the Hedera ecosystem by leveraging their expertise in Web3 infrastructure and experience in building scalable digital asset projects for Fortune 500 clients. BCW has worked closely with Hedera on a wide range of initiatives since 2018, including Hashport, which is the first, or was the first, interoperability bridge connecting Hedera and the EVM world, along with Toko, the enterprise-grade digital asset tokenization and issuance platform. Building. Speaking of Switzerland, Switzerland's fifth largest financial institution is set to develop an independent cryptocurrency trading and custody service for its clientele. Switzerland's post office is set to onboard cryptocurrency trading through its banking arm, Post Finance, as user appetite for custody grows in the country, with 2.6 million users. The fifth largest bank is expected to be able to buy and sell Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in the next 2 years. Cough, cough, XRP, Casper, anything in Switzerland. And to be fair, Switzerland, a lot of these nations that somewhat actually have a regulatory framework. Yes, there's a lot of projects there. It makes sense. I'm not saying it's just Casper, just, Alliance Block Having Connections or XRP or Polkadot. There's dozens, but it's great to see actual development and true funding behind the scenes. And I'm not trying to bash other projects, but when you really dig in, you'll find out that a lot of projects that people think are going to the moon only have like 4 full-time employees. And I don't think they're ready and really built to even survive this market. And in my opinion, when you see Casper, they have over 80 full-time, not just contractors, over 80 full-time employees. And for me, that's just another confluence or common sense to assume that this is a real team pushing out real updates with real plans to have real partners. 80 employees compared to, I would love to see the average, employee count for a crypto project, even in the top, 50 or 100. And I've still seen projects do well, even if they only have 5 to 10 employees, but I'm looking for mass adoption. I'm looking for moonshots or projects that will survive the future. Also, good news for Constellation. So we have DAG the token and ADS or Alchemy. They've been listed on Uphold. If you want to create an account, this is linked in the YouTube video description, but I will continue to do my monthly tweet. I want Uphold to allow us to actually withdraw our assets, whether they're tier 3, tier 4. Casper has been on Uphold forever, whether it's XDC, whether it's, HBAR. I just want freedom to move my assets, stake them on chain, or, come and go as I please. That's the point of crypto. So I like Uphold, don't get me wrong, but I really just want freedom to use crypto how it's meant to be. So I'm not happy that they're holding some Casper that I have hostage on their exchange and I can't remove it. So if anybody over at Uphold sees this video, please pass it along. There's a lot of people, it's not just me asking for this. Another quick look at Casper's ecosystem. This is posted by Casper Labs. And here's a video I did back in April, just a quick screenshot. Brazilian crypto asset manager Hashdex is approved to list ETPs or exchange traded products in Switzerland. And Zurich is one of the most densely populated cities in the world when it comes to banks. And guess who has an office there? Ripple. And they have regulatory clarity for XRP in Switzerland. And this is another one I showed in the past, but I just want to show how much is going on in Switzerland. We can see 21 shares launches an XRP ETP in the Swiss franc on the SIX Swiss exchange. All right, so let's look at the price charts. We have the XRP price chart on the right-hand side, and we have QNT. Now, we can look at the all-time high. This is when QNT was, listed on Coinbase. There's a lot more price history back here. So if you wanted to see all the price history for QNT, I'd personally go to charts.cointrader.pro. So one thing I'm doing for a variety of assets is really measuring their most recent retracement and some of their bounces from the newest low price that was set this year. So from $40 for Quant, so far, wick to wick, we've pumped 124%. That's over a 2x. From $40 up to $90, currently sitting at about 84 bucks. And when we turn on pivots from the daily time frame, we can still see that we reach the R3 pivot. Now looking at XRP, obviously we have yet to awaken. We're still down here just consolidating, really similar to Bitcoin as well. Now for XRP, yeah, we pushed up a little bit, but we didn't push over 120%. We can see we only really did about a 34% market retracement, a little bounce. Now looking at the R3, that's up to about 48 cents. Now, yes, I know tokenomics are different, market caps different, use cases different, blah, 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 but I'm really just comparing some of these fib levels. And placing a fib from the high to the low, we can see that we've made it up to the 382 Fibonacci retracement, and that's actually where we are right now. And funny enough, it also correlates with a backtest of this. So just another confluence. Now XRP, even using that swing high just wick to wick right here from the crash before capitulation, the 382 would actually take us to 52 cents. Now we can also see there was a backtest right there. And could QNT potentially be an indicator for other altcoins? And yes, I hope it's XRP and a variety of assets start moving. Now it's not just QNT, we can see a variety of other assets doing this, such as API3. So let's go, we're on the daily on KuCoin, let's throw on a pivot. And voila, right here. Look, we made it to the R3 like to perfection. It didn't even go above. It went right to the R3, wick to wick. And from that low, API3, instead of just pumping 30%, how high did we go? We actually even pumped harder than QNT, but nobody's talking about it. We can see we pumped 143%. Whereas QNT still did a 124% move. Now, these two assets, in my opinion, not financial advice, and this is more so what I'm hoping because, man, we've just been in the blood for so long. Whether or not you think it's a bull trap or just a basic retracement after falling 90%, I just want to see some type of market life, some version of a retracement. Now we have QNT, API3 doing this. If you guys see other assets, please let me know. Personally, I'm really just looking at the whole watch list, hitting percent change, seeing all the biggest losers, looking at the biggest winners, and trying to keep my eyes peeled. We have VGX. Another buddy in my group actually told me to look at this. We're seeing some, market bounces. And me personally, I'm trying to focus on assets that are, relatively liquid, a bit more established, legitimate like QNT. Microcaps can give us insight, but I'll feel better if I'm seeing really legitimate assets doing this type of bounce. Even Curve, this is another example from this low all the way up, did a 100% move, so just a 2x. So what I'm personally looking at is daily pivots, going on smaller time frames too, and potentially is DAG right there on the pivot, could we see a move to the upside just like when QNT was right there? So we're at the pivot, are we going to get some pushes up to the R1, R2, and R3 for some other altcoins and backtesting these previous levels? We do also have a wick there, so we will see. And at the end of the day, we can look at these altcoins as much as we want, but we have to wait and see what Bitcoin and Ethereum do. We are not decoupled yet. Bitcoin and Ether run this game. We have Moonbeam or Glimmer. Where is the bottom for this bad boy? Keep in mind, it did in fact launch on every single tier 1 exchange, and it was like an orchestrated dump. But long term, wherever we find the bottom, man, if I can get in and accumulate this, I do see some very nice potential. And this is also going to be based off of the Polkadot ecosystem, getting some money back into it and really retracing too. Right here for XLM, the same thing. We're just bottoming out on that S1. We have a wick right there and the R3 up there. Now, I'm not saying everything goes right to the R3, but I'm looking for any type of movement up here. XLM's at 10 cents right now, just riding this bottom. 1, 2. We've been sitting there. Can we get any type of relief rally up to the R1, R2, and R3? And the same exact thing for HBAR. Look at this, sitting on the S1. The R3 is up to 11 cents, and we have yet to even backtest. back there is like 13.7. Let's actually use the low we're sitting at now. We really haven't moved much, whereas other assets are pumping 120%, 100%, up to the R3 is about, a 94% move. Now, as you can see right here, this wick around that 13.7 is super close to that 382. We also know that QNT did that same thing right to the R3. So that would be just amazing if we could get that. And I'm going to be watching QNT because if QNT actually just keeps running up to the 702, I'm going to get pretty bullish on some of the alts that are still down here. And yes, I continue to hold the bag of QNT for life. I believe in this asset long term, but in terms of entries, I really like buying assets that have yet to run, and QNT just did phenomenal the past few years. So just a friendly reminder, does it have tremendous upside? Can QNT hit 4 or 5 digits someday? Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is crypto, anything's possible. But looking at how it's performed, I mean, over the past several years, from the all-time low, where I never bought it there, I promise, to the all-time high, we can see it did over a 250,000% move, which is over a 2,500x from the low. Now, can it keep going? Can it go up to these higher fibs all the way up? Yes, but I am all about ROI. Now, Kevin, what if mass adoption comes and it goes to the freaking moon? Okay, well, I hold some, but for now, I mean, I'm still going to be focusing on some of the younger bucks that are potentially drawing something like this, where they're here, they're creating a new low price right there. So this is what I'm focused on, right or wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, QNT right now from that price, it crashed 90%. So I mean, if you believe in it long term, that's an awesome buy if you can wait. And right here, we also did a 90% drop and then boom, we mooned. So could this just be like a beautiful ascending channel? Long term, QNT is absolutely fine. Absolutely. And I know I may get some hate for this, but I'm just sharing my opinion, guys, right or wrong, because it did a 2,500x in the past several years since 2018. That's amazing. Can it do another 1,000x? Yeah, anything is possible. But I am going to be playing my personal cards. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm going to play my personal cards and assets that have yet to create an all-time high price, that are really kind of in this trend, or potentially doing something back here. But I do believe that QNT is here to stay. I believe it's a blue chip asset. It's going to be a household name in the future. So I am personally continuing to hold it. And I will consider dollar cost averaging into this bad boy in the future. But right now, I'm hoping to ride some other waves in other altcoins. And if those take off, I'll consider putting those profits into QNT if the pair and the ratio makes sense. And basically, as long as I have an ROI, as long as I made a higher return on something else, and QNT underperformed it, then I'll consider using those earnings and accumulate more QNT. Then when QNT moves, I can reallocate those profits into the next one. And this is just referring to my trading bag or even just macro swing trades. You guys know my portfolio split as I've shared before. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you learned anything at all, be sure to like and sub. All links can be found in the YouTube video description, and I'll catch you in the next one.